Hello, and welcome to Family Game Night Games. I'm Emily with Firefly Toys and Games, and thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to delve into a really fun storytelling adventure. I don't know about you, but as a kid, I thoroughly enjoyed being able to read or listen to stories, and today is going to be no exception. Even though I am an adult, I thoroughly enjoyed going through and crafting a whole new story in the land of Storia, which is where we're going to take place today. Looking at stories, let's start with Stories of the Three Coins by Peaceable Kingdom. This is a great game for any family to be able to craft their own story in such a manner as to be able to take a character and help them to reach their happy ending before the inkwell runs dry. So you get to create your story as the storyteller. One cool thing that I enjoy about Stories of the Three Coins is it actually is a magnetic box that you are able to store all of your pieces inside in a nice safe manner, and then magnetically closes. So let's go ahead and take a look at Stories of the Three Coins. As we make our way into the land of Storia with Stories of the Three Coins, we actually begin creating the story as we set up the game. So that's a really cool feature that you don't necessarily find with most other story games. So to start with, I'm going to run through what we have on the table. So this is going to be our storyboard, and this is going to be where all the magic happens, outside of your imagination at least. Over here we do have the Inkwell, and this is going to indicate how well we're doing with crafting our story together. It is a cooperative game, so we're going to work together and pick characters and pick items throughout the story and then craft our story together until we reach the happy ending. If we choose one of the coins that might show us an inkwell, and I'll explain that in a moment, then we have to lower our inkwell. As long as the ink is still in the inkwell, but when we reach the happy ending, the end, then we have completely crafted our story and we've done a great job together. However, if at any point in the game we use all the ink up, then we've lost the game. So we do want to keep a pretty full ink as we're inkwell as we're going through. We do have our stack of cards, and we'll go ahead and set up momentarily. But since I was talking about the inkwell, let's talk about the coins. It is the story of the three coins, thus we have 3 coins in our box. So let me explain these 3 coins really quick. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the open book. This is going to be one that the storyteller uses to indicate which of the cards that they would choose to play in the story. The one that has 1 ink drop says to lower the ink level by 1. This means this was the storyteller's second choice, which is still okay, but it means we're going to have to lower the inkwell over there, and hopefully there's not too many of those. This is the storyteller's third option, which means you lower the ink level by 2, which means we're not quite cohesive in our storytelling, but we're still going to make it work. So that's the story of the 3 coins. We have a set of 5 dice, and these are going to be based on weather, or color, numbers, items, or emotions. These are going to be randomly placed in all 5 of the boxes above our storyboard. Now, the die that is currently facing as I place these out is not an indication of what we're going to necessarily use. It just means that this particular part of the story will include a number. This will include one of the items after we roll. This will include an emotion, so on and so forth. Now for the real fun to begin. As we get set up, what we're going to do is begin revealing cards from the deck until we reveal a total of 4 characters. And then we choose one of the 4 characters as our main character in the story to begin their journey on a quest to their happy ending, whatever that might entail. All right, so here's our 4 characters, and there are plenty of characters in here, by the way. The first game that I played actually included the dragon as the main character, and we had a magical ball as the ending, and it was very interesting trying to craft a story like that. So, it doesn't matter what you choose, as long as you choose together and you work together and you come to a civil consensus as to which character you'd like to portray in the story. So just for fun, we're going to take Blue Guy here. So he's going to be our main character. We're going to go ahead and put him in the character stand. And we need to give him a name. So we're going to name him Bob. All right, so Bob is going to start in the beginning. And you all can be as crafty as you want to with your name. Now we got to discover, what is his happy ending? Oh, how interesting. So this is going to look like maybe an elf because of the pointy ears, maybe a elf ranger. I don't know. So we need to find a way for Bob to have a happy ending with the ranger, whether it means that she has a special item that he needs, or whether she was lost and he needed to find her to be able to restore something. But you craft it however you would like to. So let's go ahead and set up the board. You're going to take a total of 3 cards off the deck and put them in one of each of the 5 open spaces. And we're definitely not going to look at it because it will ruin the idea of our imagination. All right, so we've done that. We're now done with the cards, but there are so many options out there to be able to use in this game. So this is quite a replayable game because you can continue playing and you have so many choices out there. So who knows how many stories you can actually create in this game. All right, so Bob, we've got Bob over here. And so what we'll say is Bob lost a friend a very long time ago, and he is out on a quest to find a new friend. And things have been a little crazy lately. But he heard about this sweet friend named Carolyn. And Carolyn is an elf who lives out in the forest. So he's got to find which forest in order to find where Carolyn lives. All right, so let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin. Whoever is the first storyteller is going to grab the 3 cards that are in the first slot. We're going to go ahead and turn it face up so that everybody can see what cards that we have. So it looks like we have a musician. We have someone playing the ukulele, it looks like. We have a wolf. And we have a cow. Very interesting to start our journey with Bob. And so the storyteller is going to pick up the 3 coins and make sure that no one else has access to see which of those that he chooses, or she. And so we're going to place them face down. And then we're going to let everyone else decide, whoever else is playing, which card that you would choose to complete the rest of the journey. So after taking some time to debate among your group, what we've decided is the group decided to choose the wolf as the next part of the story. So we know that he is out in search. Bob is trying to find which forest that Carolyn is in, so we're going to choose the wolf as the story. So now what we're going to do is flip over the coins from the storyteller and decide which one that he or she chose. In this case, the group decided the wolf, which was the exact same choice as the storytellers. So good job, guys. So that means that the wolf is the next part of our story. Now, before we can complete telling the next part, we have to roll the die associated with the card that we chose. So let's take the die and roll. And we have the number 4. So we need to use the number 4 in relation to our wolf. Are you ready? Play passes to the next storyteller. The next storyteller begins. What happened next? Well, as Bob made his way into the first forest, there were 4 wolves in a pack that jumped out of nowhere, and they looked hungry. Bob is a pretty big dude, but Bob was really scared about the wolf pack. But what happens next? Let's see if he gets saved. So now we continue on to the second part of our story. Now the storyteller takes the 3 cards in the next set, lays them out, and does the exact same thing. They get to pick and choose which one they feel like was the next step in the story. All right. So let's choose. Which one do we think? Let's go with the sheep. I mean, wolf, sheep, they kind of go hand in hand, right? When you think of a wolf, you think of a sheep whenever you see a picture of it. So let's reveal it and see. And we were right. All right, so that means the storyteller also wanted the sheep. So it looks like we're doing pretty good so far. Our inkwell is really full. Now, the storyteller rolls the die. This one happens to be the items. So we're gonna have to use a shovel and sheep with the next part of the story. Play passes to the next storyteller. So the next storyteller says, there was a powerful sheep that came into the forest, leading a group of flock behind him. And they happened to have the ability to to use their hooves as a shovel and dig a hole, leading the wolf pack of four astray from Bob, and the wolves landed in a big pit where they couldn't get out. But we still haven't reached Caroline. So what happens now that the wolves are in a pit? He's still lost in this forest. So let's see what happens with the next storyteller. So we'll take the next set of cards. We will reveal them. The next storyteller will begin by picking and let's continue on our journey. All right, so the next consensus is, let's pick a rose. So let's reveal the coins. Oh, so sad, the rose was not what everybody had chose. So the storyteller really wanted the chicken leg to be chosen or the mermaid as their second choice, but the group chose the rose. So that means that we're gonna have to lower the inkwell down by 2 spaces. Oh goodness, we've used up a lot of ink trying to tell the story so far. So let's go ahead and put the rose out there. So what's Bob gonna do with a rose? And what emotion is going to be portrayed in this section? You know, this is a really good game for being able to talk about emotions and colors and numbers and how things relate like that. So, all right, so we have a very mad face, or at least it looks mad to me. So something with a mad emotion with a rose after he just got saved from the wolves by the sheep. All right, so Bob is going to travel a little farther. He thanks the sheep who helped him escape the wolf pack, and they went on their merry little way. As he went deeper into the forest, he discovered a magical rose. But this magical rose did not produce good powers. It produced evil powers. And so he picked the rose in hopes to bring it to his friend in the forest. But when he picked it up to smell this sweet rose, he got a really, really bad feeling and just felt upset. And he just wanted to destroy things. Uh-oh, that's not a very good rose. Well, let's see what happens in the next part of the story. Yes, this is a ridiculous story. It is meant to be ridiculous for a reason. All right, so the next set of cards is going to be bread, a little girl, and a campfire. Let's see what the next storyteller chooses to pick. All right. I say the group goes with the campfire. So let's begin revealing. It is! The campfire is the one that the group chose, which is also the one that the storyteller chose. So let's go ahead and take the campfire. All right, so we gotta have something that makes him happy again, because you know there has to be a happy ending to the story. So we have to get him on mad. All right, so we're gonna use a campfire and the color blue. So I wonder how we're gonna relate the color blue. All right, he's continuing to stomp through the forest as he is extremely upset, and he doesn't even know why since he's been saved. And then he walks through a beautiful path of blue pansy flowers. They almost appeared out of nowhere. Right in the center of this patch of flowers, there was a pit that looked like it could be used as a campfire pit. Getting as though it is quite dark outside, and he still had more journey to go before he reaches his friend, he decided to build a campfire. Between the sweet smell aroma of the blue pansy flowers and sitting nice and warm and toasty by the campfire, the madness and the upset feelings that Bob felt melted away. All right, we're now on to our last sequence of story that we have to discover who or what will help us to reach Caroline, our friend, in the middle of the forest. Next storyteller goes. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's pick the sweet little old lady. She looks like she's just precious. Oh no! The storyteller wanted to use the rope, but that is not what the group chose. We chose to pick the sweet little old lady. Looks like she's a good little witch. You know, like the fairy godmothers? That looks like what she is. All right, so the sweet little witch that she is came along, and how are we going to relate her with Sunshine? And we still need to reach Caroline. All right, let's see if we can conclude this story. As soon as the sun arose the next day, Bob got up, completely shut down his campfire, thanked the blue pansies for a wonderful evening, and set out on his journey. He is still trying to find Caroline, the sweet little elf friend who is in the middle of the forest, when he comes across this very strange cottage in the middle of the forest. And out bursts a sweet little lady on her way to go pick whatever the freshest thing that she picks every morning. As she walked out with her little basket, she greeted Bob, and Bob said, "Excuse me, dear miss, I'm trying to find a dear friend of mine. She's an elf. Can you help me?" And she said, "Well, sure, dear, but you realize the elves are like a 5 days journey away." He said, "Oh, I've hit the wrong forest, haven't I?" And she said, "Yes, you're in the wrong forest, but I have a trick that can help you." So she invited him into her cottage. And in the back of her cottage, there was a small door. Now, Bob is a pretty decent size, so he's looking at this door going, how can I fit through this door? So she waves her little wand, says a couple of things, and bops him right on the head. And wouldn't you know, he shrank right down to size to fit through that little door. And as he opened the door to go to the other side, there was a beautiful land emerge. And right in the center of that forest was Caroline. He has found his dear friend, and the little old lady witch helped him get there with the use of her cottage. And wouldn't you know, we still have ink left, even though she was not part of the plan. We still have crafted an amazing story in Stories of the Three Coins. Well, wasn't that a wild ride? You really can use your imagination to tell the most interesting stories ever. So thank you so much for joining me for Stories of the Three Coins and helping me to help Bob find his friend Caroline in the end. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time for our family game night.